Currently on the screen is the latest on Tropical Storm Harvey. Welcome to another update via the Cayman Hurricane Center, and here's your host Adam McDoom with all the developing information.
Right. Thank you, David. And yes, we are here talking about Tropical Storm Harvey, which had passed through this morning through Barbados and passed through St. Vincent and is now in the Eastern Caribbean. Just to give you those particulars on that, as of the 5 p.m. advisory, so yes, it is a couple hours old, but I'll give you the information here. I'll also give some additional information, but the 5 p.m. advisory had location at 13.4 north, 62.9 west, moving west at 21 miles per hour, minimum central pressure of 1,005 millibars, and maximum sustained winds at 40 miles per hour. This system will be monitored very closely by areas such as Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Honduras, Belize, and the Yucatan, because these areas have the potential to be impacted by the tropical storm. Just to give you a slightly, there is another estimated satellite position on our tropical storm, just to give you the information on that. That's been slightly a bit more updated more recently. Location 13.7 north, 63.2 west. And again, the winds are still 40, pressure still 1,005. Just want to make note of this, that looking on that data for the system, it now appears that the system has now been moving west-northwest at a bit of a slower pace than earlier today, and this is very interesting, and I'll explain why this is interesting and why this could become concerning over the next couple of days. But here I want to show the official forecast track that came out with the earlier estimate, again 13.4, 62.9, and a couple of things I want to mention here. So the forecast cone has actually shifted towards the north slightly since this morning. This morning, the cone was sort of showing a landfall near eastern Honduras before coming back out and making a landfall in either south or central Belize here, and since then that has now started to shift more towards north, now no longer looking at a landfall for Honduras, and now showing more of a landfall for central to northern Belize. Now, I do want to also mention that that is the center line of track, and again, the system could move anywhere within the cone, the forecast cone, as it's the cone of error, so it means that the system could track anywhere within that general cone area as of that forecast period of, say, 5 p.m. on Friday. So it has been shifting a bit to the north, and I think we'll continue to see that shift towards the north. I don't think that it will be as far north as, say, making a landfall in Jamaica or the Cayman Islands or anything, but passing closer to the south coast of Jamaica and say the south coast of the Cayman area, then maybe making a landfall, say anywhere from the southeast central tip of the Yucatan to the extreme northeast tip, at least to about this point, is where we could potentially be looking at a landfall location. If not, just say anywhere within this area here. I think it probably might miss Belize. We'll have to watch over time. And since the previous advisory, I also want to mention that the wind field has expanded from 35 to 70 miles, and it seems to be continuously, slowly but surely expanding. And we'd expect that to continue to expand as it moves further off to the west, or as it is now, west-northwest. So let's talk about, okay, wind fields expanding, the forecast is varied, but okay, in terms of tropical storm force winds, the possibilities of tropical storm force winds, when are we looking at likely seeing those? So here is this graphic here, which is showing you the most likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds. And again, the percentages of seeing tropical storm force winds, they do extend further out to the cone, and they extend much further out, especially to the north side of the cone, or expanding further north of the cone. And this does include the area of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, even as far as the extreme tip of western Cuba, the Yucatan Channel, and again into the Bay of Campeche. And it does extend all the way further south past Honduras, Nicaragua, and therefore. So again, most likely time of arrival for tropical storm force winds. If the system does track further to the north, and we're looking at Jamaica, we're looking at, okay, this is Sunday, 8 a.m. here. We're looking at maybe mid to late morning on Sunday, going through 8 p.m. Sunday. So, and then again, if it moves on that more northerly track, then Cayman Islands may potentially be seeing some tropical storm, or at least tropical storm gusts, through the overnight hours on Sunday into Monday, and then on towards the Yucatan area by about Tuesday morning. Okay, so if it does track further to the south or more towards the cone at present, then we'd be looking at impacts towards Nicaragua or Honduras, say about Monday in the morning, about 8 a.m. So again, there are some wide varied forecasts for the system here, and I'll show you that just here. This is the forecast models for our tropical storm, and these models should be updating very soon, and I'll be doing another update a little later tonight which will include those models. But just showing here again, compared to previous updates and previous days where there were models that were going in towards even Nicaragua, Honduras, and in towards southern Belize, they're backing off of that, and they're bringing it more further and further north. And again, the more southern extent of the models take it merely onshore, just offshore, northeastern Honduras, through the Rotan area, and then through Belize. And again, that's on the southern side of the models. The northern side of the models, again, if the system tracks further towards the north, we're talking about only about, say, 100 or so miles south of Jamaica, and again, similar for the Cayman Islands before making impacts here towards the Yucatan. And so we'll have to watch. The other thing to take note of is that, you got this tropical storm here, but the strongest of winds in this tropical storm is on that north side of the system. So again, if this does track further north, that wind field could again extend as far out to Jamaica and say the Cayman area, and depending on how it builds, again, that wind field may spread out to the south side as well. And then, again, the west side here with the Yucatan area. And if it is on that southern track, and again, the southern track, a more weaker system, northern track, a stronger system. So again, with that, and say that this sort of setup remains with the system, that the strongest of winds on the north side, even if the system makes a landfall or passes along the northeastern coast of Honduras, the strongest of winds will still be more or less offshore, and not really that much occurring on the south side. It won't be that much of an issue in terms of winds for Honduras if it does track that far south, and it would be more of an issue for central and northern Belize rather than southern Belize, again, depending on how strong this thing does get, but again, weaker systems further south, stronger systems further north. So I'm looking here, and again, with the new data now saying that it's moving west-northwest at a slower speed. Okay, so if this does continue and again follows of that more northerly track, I'm pretty concerned, not only for the island of Jamaica and the area of the Cayman Islands and the Yucatan, but this whole entire area here is actually quite favored enough. Well, after this upper level low moves out, and I'll show you that in a minute. Conditions pretty much favorable in this area, and could potentially allow for some rapid intensification if it stays well enough offshore to the Honduras and stay more towards the north. That could potentially bring some serious problems for areas of the obviously Jamaica, Cayman, but more so the Yucatan, because less land, less chance for it to decrease in intensity, and more of a problem it is for there. And again, the models are starting to get its way into the Gulf of Mexico, and then going over the Yucatan, especially the northern Yucatan, there's not much terms of land height there, so crossing over won't be much of an issue. And once it gets into the Gulf, again, could be another serious situation going on there for the Gulf of Mexico or Bay of Campeche. We'll have to wait and see how we get on with the system once it's in the Western Caribbean. But again, could be something to have concern about. Okay, so here is the up-level winds. Now, let's talk about this, because obviously you saw the satellite imagery, and okay, the system doesn't really look so much like a well-defined tropical storm. So what's the deal? Okay, up-level winds are relatively light, so that's not much of an issue. There's a big upper-level anticyclone that's there providing that lower shear. There's an upper-level low here in the extreme northwestern Caribbean, Florida Straits into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. That will continue to move up and out. And this feature, the upper-level low, will also play a factor into how this system will evolve over the future. I'll discuss more about that on the later update tonight. But the upper-level anticyclone here, as you can see, it's not really right on top of the system. It's off to its north and west, so it is providing some bit of northerly shear and even to some extent some northeasterly shear onto the system. So it's good it's favorable. It's just not perfect. The upper level anticyclone's not sitting on top of it, and it's providing outflow, but it's not providing perfect outflow all around the system, and you ain't seeing spiraling bands and perfect sort of annular look. Certainly not the case right now. But anyway, as the system continues on a west or west-northwesterly track, it may get itself more aligned and provide itself with a better environment. So that is something that we will need to monitor. And just to show you the tendency offshore over the past 24 hours, here we have the 24-hour shear tendency. And as you could see, let me see if I can zoom this in just a wee bit here. There we go. And as you can see, shear's continuously falling off as the system continues west, and as that up level low also continues off, providing conditions to be favorable enough for some further intensification. So there's nothing really there that's really impeding it much. There may be a little bit of dry air to its north and east, but again, it is building the thunderstorms, and it does have a fair decent moisture field. There may be a little bit of dry air impeding it, but very little. This is the 850 vorticity, the low-level vorticity in the system, and as you can see, fairly tight here with our system. Also, the invest area 92L out here, that would be moving off towards the Bahamas, and that may be also another issue, maybe for South Florida, maybe Cuba, maybe the Florida Straits. Kind of will come to that at another time. Got long, good few days before that does anything to anyone. So there is that, and here's the ocean heat content again. And I'm going to keep on bringing this up because as the system continues to move through the area here, it'll continue to move into progressively higher and higher ocean heat content. And this is one of the things that I'm worried about. Again, our system, let's see, our system more or less located within this area here, and moving off to a west or west northerly direction, and it will get itself into this higher ocean heat content. And again, depending on where the exact track goes, whether it takes that northerly track or takes a southerly track, will determine how much of that ocean heat content is put into this system, and how strong these system would potentially get. So we'll have to watch this closely, very, very closely, over the next day or so. I think one of the key things here is, and what we got to watch, is how this system interacts and evolves from this point forward. So basically 65, 70 degrees west. And I think this area is the sort of crunch area for the system. As it moves through this area, see how it evolves when it comes out into this general area here, passing 70 west. We'll start to get a good idea of, okay, where the system's located, where is it heading towards, how strong is it going to be, and so on. So we'll figure that one out when we get there, and that will help to determine where in this general area that the system will make its way to. The island of Jamaica has not yet issued any tropical storm watches and warnings. Again, they're waiting to see what the National Hurricane Center will say over the next couple of days. However, they have issued a special marine warning for the area for the larger swells that will come into this area with Harvey. Also, I saw in their most recent update that they are concerned that there may be a bit of rainfall and gusty winds for the island of Jamaica as the system continues through. And again, as mentioned, depending on how far north or south the system go will determine how much of an effect Jamaica will have. Also, the National Weather Service of the Cayman Islands has also issued marine advisories for the area, and increased with rainfall and winds are expected to occur over the late weekend going into early week as Harvey moves to the south. And again, depending on how far north or how far south the system goes will determine how much of an impact it will have. The Belize Emergency Operations Command had also issued a statement saying that with the potential track for Harvey to move towards Belize, and it providing it does take that southerly track, they're also getting themselves prepared for that. I haven't got any information yet from Honduras, Nicaragua, and the Yucatan just yet. I will look into that and update you on the next update if there is anything there from them. But again, this is a developing situation, and it is something that Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, and the Yucatan should be monitoring very closely, as well as, and I do apologize for not mentioning, the Dutch Antilles of the ABC Islands, the Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. This system will be further north than you guys. However, as you can see in the satellite imagery, there are some of these bands that are starting to move through that area, and you know, these bands are going to be more or less light to moderate, not anything too serious for you guys, but just more of increased rains and winds coming out of the northwest. I just want to point out here on the satellite imagery, as I've got it up, system, even though that it would appear that it's either moving west or west-southwest, that is actually more of the up-level winds coming out and kind of blowing some of these thunderstorms off in that sort of direction. I'll point out here where there is outflow and where the shear is coming in. As you can see, I'll change the color here. Here's the outflow here in the system, and it's fairly decent, but when you get onto that northern side, that's where you have that bit of an issue where it's coming into this. This is why you're seeing those high-level cirrus clouds of those thunderstorms getting, you know, sort of weakening. That, and plus we're going through diurnal minimum, which will bring down the intensity of the thunderstorms through the evening hours, build back up through the overnight. So yeah, that's why the system does not look that impressive. There are some new bands developing here in this system, and this is interesting because with the new bands could also mean the system is starting to take more moisture in and starting to build more on those thunderstorms. We'll see how things go. Also, there are recon missions. We had a recon mission earlier today. There's going to be another recon mission tomorrow. These are U.S. Air Force Reserves 53rd Weather Recon C-130s that flew out into the system, giving the information. Tomorrow there will be one, and also, finally, we'll be getting recon missions from the NOAA flight ops. They'll be sending their P3s down, and I cannot wait because the NOAA Hurricane Hunters, the information from those, a lot of that will be thrown into the models, and the models will be able to get a better handle on the system. And I think this is what we need. We need more recon data into those models, and those models will be able to better handle the situation. The situation is sort of complex as it is, so any way we can make this better would be great for forecasting. But anyway, for the time being, no sort of land issues. You know, again, Barbados, St. Vincent, and the islands here had some flooding issues, but the clouds are clearing out, the winds are dying down. It's time for those guys to recover, and it's time for the guys in the Central, Western Caribbean, and Central America to start preparing for the system. Okay, that is it for me for now. I'll be back with much more information, slightly better update a little later on tonight. So, till then, catch you later.